Clubs might be innovative, they might have a lot of interesting stuff, but the real problem is that the corporations know that, if I work with Citibank, it's going to stay there. But if you have the perfect fintech solution, you might just change your mind tomorrow. How can I put your solution into my platform? And then tomorrow you might change your idea. That is the reason that a lot of companies just go with another alternative, because they know that the other company is going to stay there. Same thing with people. If I give you the key to my house, and if I know that you're always going to be reliable and is going to do it, no matter your price, I'm going to stay with you. But if I just know that you're a person that, like, if anything is going to happen tomorrow, you're going to be in South Africa, then I was like, come on, you know me, how is a guy who's doing that? So when your personality is going to be a person that is not somehow doing things in a continuous way, even though you're going to be famous, you will be forgotten very easily. So you have to create a persona, and you just keep saying that and keep keeping that to be able to be trustworthy, that other people trust you and try to basically do business with you. And the last part of that is basically the collaboration. You're famous, but you don't have to think of that as the end of me. The best part of the being famous is that then that is the beginning of you. If you're Beyonce and then you see a Rihanna, and now think of a collaboration between a Beyonce and a Rihanna, and when it's going to happen. That's also what happened to Bleak. Like Alior and M-Bank and all the other banks sit down together, and I was like, let's just build one thing together. That is why one solution managed to get the whole market all together. So the moment you feel that you're famous, that is your perfect moment. Because now you can find people that have the same amount of network next to you, and then try to say, you know what, now we can just collaborate together and then try to see what we can do, and then your 10,000 followers is going to be to 20,000 while you were gradually putting it 500 to 500.
Yeah, the Polish example for Rihanna is Taco Hemingway and Potrzeba. They organize a concert together, and they are completely from two different worlds.
I mean, any two part of the industry that somehow, even, I mean, I can put it even also, how do you call it, into some more commercial way. So even, for example, like when you look at like InPost and the large Polish airline, again, you might put them into two different things, but when you do the collaboration, you don't even know which one really just add value to the other, but it's always good to share all these things together. Marketing balance. If you want to really sell your product or your service, you have to have one of these four things. You either have to be innovative, meaning that your product or service have to have something that others don't have. This is something super important. I'm trying to make it a little bit like not to go to details of that to save the time also. Or you basically have to be work in a relationship. As I mentioned, you just say that, you know what, I just know that, for example, like Amazon is the best solution maker, or Uber is the best car sharing company, and then the relationship would do the job for you. Another fun fact that also like Bolt right now is doing, they have this advertisement, like Uber drives Bolt, and like that lady, it just want to create a relationship with you. And I was like, ha ha ha, let me just see how it works. And the moment you will have that, it doesn't need to have innovation, you just have to basically have the relationship. The other one is convenience. That is how Amazon works. One-click shop. You don't have to worry about anything. You can return it anytime you want. It's always available. It's always reliable. That is why people do that. There's no innovation whatsoever. There might even no relationship whatsoever. If Amazon is not going to do that, I'm going to go with Allegro. There is no loyalty in that thing. It's just a matter of how easy it is for you to go through the whole thing. The other one is the price. Forget about that. I'm just going to do my shopping and shop that. I have no problem with just being complicated. I just want to have the cheapest price there. So if you would have one of these four things, then you have to understand that you can put any price on your product and people are just going to get it. But you have to understand that innovation is against convenience. If you want to make your product more innovative, the new iPhone without a keyboard was a hassle. It was complicated for people, and that's why BlackBerry and others had a time of their sense. Because people with old school touchpad, they never wanted to lose the keypad, and they wanted to stick with that. Innovation goes against convenience. And on the other hand, the other problem is also that relationship is against price. If I'm going to be a brand without any relationship and without anything, I can be cheap, but I cannot build a relationship with you and then try to have you as somebody build it. Again, innovation comes with different capacities. I will go very slightly, very quickly through the whole thing, as not to go through the details of all of these things. You can either have a product innovation, you can have a system innovation, or a brand innovation. Meaning that you can either have something specifically in your product, or you can just try to make sure that the way that you're distributing your system is innovative, or you can at least try to say that, you know what, the way that that brand is doing something is different than what others would do. When it comes to relationship, you can be more influential, meaning that, you know what, I'm just gonna, again, sorry, just going too much to whoever doesn't like Lewandowski, apologies, but like, you just say that, you know what, I'm just going to go with like Vistula, because I just love the way that he looked in that thing. It's just a matter of that, or that Polish singer was just dressing on that clothes, or what, oh shit, I forget the name of this Polish actress, the singer that was promoting Empik, for example, Wródka, or whatever like that. Or you find the loyal customers. Right now, for example, like if you go to Arcadia or if you go to other shopping centers, they have a loyalty card, meaning that you just get points and add points to that. So even if you're really not interested in going back, and I was like, you know, my Cafe Nero one just needs one more stamp that I'll get one more coffee there. And the moment you just go there for 30, you're already addicted. So then you're going to be a part of that loyalties platform, and then just basically you're just going to keep going there, and you build a relationship with that. Long-term contracts. Telcos are perfect at long-term contracts. The moment you don't have it, you receive advertisement in order to have it. You always just getting different promotions. The moment you have a 2-year, 10-year agreement, then it's gone. And I was like, you know what? I am more than happy to basically just pay them anything they want, just not to receive advertisement about what am I going to do with my phone. So at the same time, when you are with like a Google as your cloud solution, when you are with mBank for your bank, when you are with like T-Mobile for your phone, for 5 years, and it was like, you know what, maybe Play is 2 zloty cheaper, but I was always with T-Mobile, I'm fine. I was always with mBank, I'm fine. You just go with it. So long-term contracts is also going to really help. When it comes to convenience, you can either basically try to have a better distribution system, a better market information, or automation. All of these things somehow can make you a more convenient way. And again, we can go through the details of that, but I think this is something rather easy, and I'm not going to go through the details of this again. And also about the price. There are different ways to basically just set the price lower. For example, like one of them is that you would buy the infrastructure, and that is the way you can try to basically make something cheaper. Another way is that you have a proprietary algorithm. Like you know that one person with, like one of the things if you guys don't know, for example, like Carrefour right now has application. So you can already say which products you want to have, and then they put the statistics on everybody is right now is looking for that product. So they can ask for suppliers to put more products there. So then you will see milk can be 30 grosz in Carrefour and 2 grosz in Żabka. And that is the way that you can understand also by putting technology. You can also try to basically lower the price, and the moment the price is going to be very low, then again people can come back to you anytime. That's also maybe a little bit more into the whole buying environment and everything. That people don't buy for logic or reasons. They basically buy because the conditions are right, and the buying behavior is stimulated by the buying behavior. Anything that is limited edition would somehow bring you a totally different feeling than when something is something that everybody else can have. So any moment you have a brand that you know that you have like 10,000 of that, and then nobody else have any part of that, you can make sure that you're going to make a lot of money. You can easily be oversubscribed. So people, for example, like don't buy what people say and people what other people want to buy. Like if you know Lafayette, like it is a very hard shop. They don't even let you in. Before you want to get in, you have to say what you want to buy before they go there, because they don't want window shoppers. And I was like, oh, let me look at that bag. No, you have to say the brand of the type of the bag, the color of the bag, and the year of the bag. And I was like, you're a specialized, you're professional. You get in, and then you see a half-an-hour queue for people who want to go there. So when you're outside, you just say that first of all, I have to learn about this brand. Second, I have to educate myself because they're not going to let me in. Then you stay in that queue. So that queue is always going to be longer and longer. That is why they can have 400, 500% margin on top of it. You really don't need it. Maybe a Zara bag or like some local brand is going to do the same thing. But the moment you're oversubscribed, people illogically want to have your product. That's what you really want to have. Also turn your clients into celebrities. Look at the Tesla. Like people just walk around and I was like, I drive Tesla. What do you drive? And I was like, Lamborghini, and I was like, yeah, it's a Tesla, you know, like it's destroying the environment. And I was like, I'm so ashamed of my few $1 million that I just wasted and I did that. How can I do that? And I was like, limited edition. That is over. So go back to the next edition of Tesla. Maybe this time you're going to be successful. If you really have a brand, if you have the club, if you want to promote your club, never talk about your club. Talk about what one member of the club achieved by being a member of the club. Then that member shared that post 10 times more than the most interesting post that is only about your brand. And then everybody else want to do something as accomplished as that one. And then you have all the ambassadors that walk around you, try to be more accomplished, and then fix the whole thing. Like Tinder just walks around and was like, 2 people get married because of me. They don't go back to the other part of that. They don't say that, let me show you how much money I make. They just talk about the success stories. And then people are like, oh, I want to get married, so I'm just going to do that. Nobody thinks about how much money I'm going to win, how much money I'm going to lose. And then by that, basically, you're going to position yourself differently. People also don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. That's also something that is super important. Nobody needs a Mont Blanc pen. I mean, please. I mean, I love pen. I love Lamy and Mont Blanc. I mean, we have a long conversation around that. But that shows a style. When you go in a business meeting and you see somebody's Rolex and you started comparing your Rolex to their Rolex, you might just close $1 million project together. If there's this funny joke about the Big Pen, they say that Big Pen is only a pen that either somebody give it to you or you stole it. Because nobody buys a Big Pen. So when you want to sign $1 million company and then you basically take your Big Pen out, and I was like, wait for it. Maybe I just made something somewhere wrong. But you know, when you put your Mont Blanc out, then I was like, oh, he's my guy. So it's not about necessity. You always sometimes have to look at some of these very tiny details in the whole story. And it's okay to be different. If you want others to basically, if you do what others do, you know, like quite get what others get. I can give you this very interesting example. So there's this guy, Pete Evans. Like, he basically just goes outside and says all the things that all other people are just showing you is just a pile of commercial activities. And because of that, a lot of nutritionists hate him. But it's funny, because he wants to have a specific type of customers, and he makes them a fanatic fan of himself. So in Australia, people worship him. Like if you go somewhere and then you just see that like everybody is just making more and more like modern buildings, and then somebody would make a super old buildings. You see, there are more people behind this building than every other place. Like this place, Mannequin, in the city, close to city center, it's always having a half an hour queue. It's just a pancake place. But the moment you do something differently, people act differently to it. It's just another place. But if you want to make another, like, I don't know, like a milk bar or bar leche that is going to do the same thing that what everybody else is doing, you're never going to have a different style. It's okay to fail. I started my conversation with that. We're unable to cope with the current demands. It's really good to say that, you know what, if you are just right now going to change the environment, Rotary Club is not going to be able to help you. But if you want to feel the world hunger, we're going to help. People have to learn that you are a good business when they understand that you don't say yes to everything. There are limits to what you want to do. It is okay to say no. Netflix literally pays $2,000 for everybody who want to quit. Man, it's like, don't be here if you really don't want to be here. I incentivize you to just leave me. And that would show that somehow, like, I am not worried to do something. If you want to be hired at Google, the founders have to sign your employment. Think how complicated it is, because they want you to not to be there. Like that, people understand that if I am a Google employee, I have to be proud of what I do. It is okay to also make people wait. Apple products. You always see a waiting room when Apple products wants to be launched. Trust me, they can sell it to every single one of them. Because when you wait 40 hours behind the doors, then you have a totally different feeling when you understand that this product is already waiting for you and you don't have to worry about it. It's also okay to basically just buck the trend, like the co-working spaces. If you really want to like sell your residential or your office space and everything, everybody else is just having that, this is the lease agreement, this is how we have to do it, so I'm either going to make it cheaper or I'm going to make it different. I was like, you know what? We're not going to go with the trend because real estate booming. We're going to make it in a way that all of us are in the same room can work together. Because you're not in the same trend, and people have to react to what you do regardless of prices and everything else in a different way. if you don't mind, just to give you some time, I'm just going to go into this slide just to save some time in the middle. Give away ideas. That's why I'm here. I'm giving you exactly how I help companies grow for free without any expectations, because that's what I said in the beginning. Implementation does matter. Don't ever worry about giving advice to other people. Don't worry about sharing your ideas with other people, because you have to first of all create some sort of a connection if you really want to have something long-term with anybody regarding your business. So that is the point that basically the more you share with people, but you also have to know what you're sharing with them. The real story is that if I really want to work in a corporation, my employee doesn't really need to understand what I do. They just have to see the KPI, I hit the KPI, I set the KPI, and the business growing, they see the money in their pockets. But the moment I share my ideas and my knowledge, they somehow have different feelings for it. So don't ever worry about sharing your ideas, and always try to give people before taking something from them. And also about the components. Try to somehow create something that people can somehow play with it. If you are trying to do something, try to make sure that you have some sort of a giveaways. Something that at least people somehow have an idea of how this thing is going to be in the future. Because I don't know any of your business or your background, it's very hard for me to put these things into context. But I'm sure if you look at your business, you can try to get to know these things a little bit easier. I'll put some examples after that for that. And also the supervision. It's also sometimes good to say, you know what, I know that we're not working together, but I can be your advisor. I can just supervise what you do. Was it good? The food could be a little bit warmer, the salt could be a little bit less. Don't be shy of just giving them a bit of feedback. Be their advisor. And then after that, I was like, so how should I do that? And I was like, good. Now it's time for business. Now let's just sit down and talk about numbers. But being supervisor is also say that, you know, I give you information, I tell you how it's going to work, and I'm also going to be with you to just do it a little bit. The last part is basically I'm done with you. Also try to just know where the boundary is. Try to make sure that you know that where the business is going to start, to make sure that you also, as much as charity is a good thing, but you know, just go to some extent with it. One of the perfect example for that for me is Lululemon. Anyone of you guys know the Lululemon? No yoga people here. So people would sell yoga. So you would just say that I want to buy yoga pants, beautiful or not beautiful, they were commodities. They all look the same. But they started to make them fashionable. That makes it expensive. Why should I buy an expensive yoga? Because I'm not going to go to a gala with my yoga pants. What they did was they made a culture out of that. They said, you know what, you have never did yoga, and you're a person that you're above a little bit of a social class. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create yoga videos, and I'm going to share it with you. And I was like, oh, I want to do what I see in the video. How can I do that? You would do yoga. Let me just go to the next slide. It's a little bit more understandable how it works. You go to the Lululemon shop and you practice yoga by the things that you didn't even buy or you can buy. It's not like I did some stuff with like automotive industry, like if you are working for BMW, if you have Mercedes, you just have to go home. You have to come back with BMW because nobody would allow you to go there. But in Lululemon, you can have anything you want because they just want to share with the community, because that is beyond what you can just compare with the money. So you learn how to do yoga, you go to Lululemon to do yoga, and then after that, you know what? You can have one of those things. And then after that, you don't go back to the next shop and ask for it. And these things are limited edition. So you are oversubscribed, you are loyal, the prices are higher, the margins are higher, and they're growing exponentially. Another thing, don't lose the winning formula. I mentioned a bit about BlackBerry. So BlackBerry took Alicia Keys, famous singer, if you know or not, as their ambassador. Very interesting, diverse, like a black lady, all the other stuff. As also the fact of BlackBerry was more like a white businessman. So a bit like an interesting ideology. She tweeted that BlackBerry is the best phone in the market, but she tweeted it. And if one of you guys you know Twitter, Twitter shows how you tweet it. She tweeted it from her iPhone. And that was the end of it. So that was literally the end of it. That like, BlackBerry is such a shit that even the person who wants to promote it doesn't know how to use a BlackBerry. And that is the whole point of the $1 million business just goes to waste by just doing that. Because BlackBerry was not competing with iPhone. BlackBerry was competing as a person who did some IT, like cybersecurity, all the other stuff. nobody would even think that for a second anybody would go to iPhone. Because it was much, much easier to basically just manage like a company with Blackberries. You could lock them, you could do whatever you want with them, you could easily program them. And IT security, they were their dreams to give people Blackberries. But they lost it because they just said that we are the same as iPhone. And that was the way that they lost everything, because they were not half good as that. But the moment they would just say that we're BlackBerry, you're totally different than iPhone, and they would not basically try to win somebody else's market, then everything would be fine for themselves.
That's true.
Nothing beats the positive or remarkable. This is also another thing you have to understand. People are not going to buy to your advertisement. Right now you just say that I put $500,000 on Nikon, and I am going to sell people Nikon. That is not going to happen. I want to buy a DSLR. I want to buy a professional camera. You put the advertisement, you motivate me to search more about cameras. But what is really is going to happen, then I go to Reddit, then I go to influencers, then I go to YouTubers, and then I start to reading who really say your brand is remarkable. I'm trying to find my Polish bank. M-Bank puts shitload of advertisement, $10 billion advertisement on M-Bank, dream come true. Then I go back to my friend that this guy knows the Polish market inside out, and I was like, which bank is good? And I was like, oh, definitely go with, I don't know, Millennium. Thanks to M-Bank, I got the invitation to open up a new bank account. Who get the money? Millennium. Why did that happen? Because first of all, this is the put that I put as a 50-50 rule. You put 50% of your money to really make your brand remarkable, then advertise it. Because if you don't, that time is gone that you say that, you know guys, this is one bread, and this is one biscuit, and this is one milk, and when I'm just promoting it, you're gonna buy it, you're gonna buy it from my shop. If your brand is not gonna be remarkable, you're gonna promote it, but somebody else is gonna take it based on your activities. So you have to make sure that whatever you do, you have to have a remarkable brand and try to work on this one. Also, Richard Branson, I mean, like, I just want to put out of it, but like, most of his problems are being solved by just saying that Richard Branson said so, so it's going to happen. So you also have to really feel like if Steve Jobs made iPhone, so iPhone is good, when Virgin Airlines is being basically run by Richard Branson. So you have to understand, even if you're going to be remarkable, going back to all this being famous and all the other stuff, Cesare is a good example of these things and the way that he's basically running the whole the M-Bank and everything. So as long as people in the industry would know you as a person that you're visionary and you know how to run your business, then people go to your business and then buy into your product.
With M-Bank, I have accounts in like 10 Polish banks, and so I have like 3 or 4 accounts in M-Bank. From top to bottom, I have the green one, the blue one, and the red one.
And you just like the colors, or just
the corporate, the small companies, and yeah, for everybody. And the cheapest, let's say, the cheapest account in the M-Bank is much better than private banking at Millennium. I'm sorry.
Good. You see, that is
but it's from a usage point standpoint.
Another funny thing I have to say is sometimes also so much of these things are somehow bubble. So we had an American workshop with some Americans and some Polish companies, and they were just saying that I don't know why even people make products that you can manage your different bank accounts. And then I was like, so how many of you guys have more than one bank account? Everybody's hand was up. How many of you guys more than 2 bank accounts? Still hands were up. And I was like, come on, if you're in Poland and you are a businessman, you at least have 2 bank accounts. But the different banking system in different countries somehow just show a different attitude. Or even the whole idea of looking at applying for credit cards in Poland versus the US, again, is a totally different story. So it doesn't really matter. As I said, I'm sorry to say, but like I would be much more effective if I know your business and if I'm sitting down in a business on a one-to-one thing. So for me, it's a generalization of everything. So based on the market you're operating, if it's in East Asia, if it's in Europe, or if it's B2B, or if it's B2C, it's a fintech, insurtech, is an advisory of a charity company, everything has to be different. This is something that I put as some sort of a perk. This is a website, I put it on the top. This is a scorecard for the personality influence. And when you would go there, I even just to make it fun, I just did it yesterday just to see how I am. So apparently this is my overall score. And they will give it to you. I'm sorry to say, like, it's a bit commercial, and I'm not receiving a penny out of that. And they're also a bit aggressive regarding contacting later with selling their stuff, and they're good at it. I'm sorry, I would just ask you, the moment you leave here, go there and just go to this. Why? Because the questions that they ask you, I'm sorry to say, but you really feel like you're a 6-year-old and your parents ask, like, did you brush your teeth? Did you do this? You just feel like, oh shit, I didn't brush my teeth, then I'm gonna go to bed. Like, they literally tell you things that you have to do, and you never thought that you have to do it. And when they ask you and you feel like you didn't do it, you just put it into your to-do list that I have to do it, if not today, tomorrow. So don't think that this number means anything. But this somehow is a motivation somehow for you to understand that if you really want to grow your business, maybe there are things that you never think that you should do, but if you really manage to do it, it's really going to help you grow your business. I somehow try to wrap it up. Celebrate your clients, make them the star of your show, get them famous for their success stories, and like put them like on a pedestal and let them see you. That's what I mentioned it to you. If everyone in your industry charged by the hour, create a fixed price solution. If everyone in the industry basically sell components, be the company that sells things in a bundle. If everybody is just doing something, I just basically try to just like break the boundaries. Try to understand how others are doing and try to be different. Let's just say embracing that part of that. For organizations that try to tell us what we need to do, ultimately they fail. Organizations that make social changes desirable and interesting and cool, they will win. I'm just trying to basically just put a little bit of like a charity into this whole thing. So I don't know if you know the charity Water, but Scott Harrison. So what they did, they didn't ask to sell or help or like do something out of these things. You would basically donate your birthday. So it was like, this is my birthday, so if anybody wants to give me something, donate to this charity. And the funny thing about him and the fact that he knew all these things, because he was running the light bulb. So he knew how to motivate people to do these things. So the moment you manage to make your thing cool, all the problem with like not being like vegan or not using plastic and all the other stuff, it somehow tried to make things a little bit more cool, and the moment these things are going to be cool, people are going to go for it. There is no scarcity in the world for people who share abundantly. As I said, I'm very grateful for the invitation and all the other stuff, but I always try to keep it like that. Like, try to share as much as you can with people, because the more you share, the more you gain. And don't ever think that, like sharing is going to take something away from you. So, thank you.
Ideas with us. Thank you for being here with us.
Krótka sesja 3 pytań, jakbyście mieli.
Okay,
First, may you permit
I cannot say that I know how to become a millionaire soon, but some of us are millionaires already. So
I'm gonna tell you a joke because of what you said. So there was a guy crying, and then I was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "I married this lady, and I'm a millionaire right now." And I was like, "Well, being a millionaire is good." And I was like, "No, I was a billionaire." And now it's like being a millionaire is not such a good thing. Right now, if you have one flat in Warsaw, you're a millionaire. So I'm not really sure like being a millionaire is such a desirable thing unless you want to have half a flat.
So maybe thanks to new ideas, they will know how to become a billionaire soon.
Okay. Can have a
Please,
question.
yes.
Okay, let me first start with, we started the presentation and I immediately started to disagree with many things you said.
I'm happy that people disagree with me.
I will just say them, okay? Uber from the airport. This is dangerous because it's a company which is, first of all, not giving a very, very good impression. You think the drivers, you think it's not a very good, let's say, business card. Also, this is the company which is paying for every to remove the competition. So this is a bit dangerous. They are painting in red in the accounting, and this is also about Uber. You think they will be able to change the price into relationships, because this is what they have to do to start winning money, and I don't really believe it that they will be able to do it, because they have grown from offering cheap rides sponsored by their shareholders, and to I don't think they build a community which is really loyal.
I mean, we can basically go a little bit too deep into this, because I did something with electromobility and car sharing, but the most important thing is like that. You always have your price, your expenses can be variable. Meaning that the moment you manage to create a better formula for the car sharing, one thing I have to say, for example, like right now makes Bolt a little bit more effective than Uber, is that Bolt has started to do heat map. So drivers can see where there is more demand, and that is the place that Uber, the Bolt drivers can go into that area, and that will makes them having like a longer roads comparing to Uber.
You know that Uber did something like this, that they had to abandon it because people started to cheat the system.
Yes.
They were creating a community of drivers. They were internally logging off from the application, waiting some time. The demand was higher. Then they knew at which time they are logging in,
That's
and they were taking the course.
Because of the search price and everything. Yeah, that's true. To be honest, I always have this attitude to when there is a community, to not to go into something very like a special thing. I mean, I would just maybe switch it into this way. The reason that Uber comparing to a normal driver is better is because of something totally different that you can put it into the category of behavioral science. One thing I have a very good contact with the city of Warsaw, and we are talking with, especially with Deputy Mayor very often. Behavioral science is a mind-boggling idea. All the things you see for the trams, when the tram is coming, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, the moment you see in 2 minutes the tram is going to come, you feel the tram comes faster.
Yes, sir.
The moment that, fun fact, the moment they put mirrors next to the elevators, you feel the elevator comes faster. You have to play with people's behavior to make them happier. One of the reasons that the Uber works better is that they are very good at manipulating people's behavior. I always have this funny thing, I said Uber minutes. Because they say that the Uber is going to come in 2 minutes. And I was like, no, that is a 2 Uber minutes. Meaning that this 2 can be 4 or 6 or 7. But the reality is that we don't even know what is 2 minutes. Especially guys, I'm just putting on myself. We're really bad at timing. And I was like, honey, I'm going to see you in 2 minutes. 2 minutes means like something roughly between 5 to 6. But the moment I say 2, the lady is just a little bit less reluctant, and I was like, we don't have 6 minutes. I'm still gonna come in 6 minutes. But when I say 2, she doesn't ask, I don't do anything, we go out a little bit happier. That's what Uber is doing. And a lot of other ways that they basically try to put the things, in a what is the word, like a less frustrating way, as waiting 15 minutes for a random taxi to come and you don't know where the taxi is. Or the language barrier in that context.
Okay, I don't agree with the marriage.
Me too.
Because the successful marriage has to be for a limited hours per day. You have to give your partner a little bit off.
Oh my God. Wow.
The man has to go for fishing or for hunting or something like this. No. What I mean about this, the man has to have his shed, go for fishing, go for hunting, go forever, and the same with women. If you don't give some space.
One thing I learned is that humans are such individuals that I would say, good for you, But like Melania and Bill Trump, like they do their own charity, they live together, they work together. I don't know when they get bored of each other, but they're one of those rare couples that I know them for years, and they're still not hitting each other, and they're not angry with each other, and like they're very civilized. And I'm sorry, like, talk about business with me and about marriage and this part of that. I just try to mention the fact that like you cannot monetize something you cannot measure. And it's like even some stuff like that, sometimes when you understand what people want does matter, and you learn it from your business, it might be good for your marriage. Maybe I just put myself
the example about UPC.
Yes.
This is the same example as Ryanair or something like this.
Oh, tell me about Ryanair.
Okay, what I mean about this. People will not buy better service. They will never pay for it. Because first you look at the price, at the parameters, and then you have to cope with this guy who is
till the next player is going to come to the market. That is totally true. Delta Airline, I'm happy that, I don't know how many of you guys tried Delta Airline.
What about the Wizz?
Pardon?
What about the Wizz?
Oh look, I'm sorry. This is Delta.
Yeah, okay.
And then this is Wizz. I mean, it's like, forget about it. Like, Delta Airline is the airline that they dragged the guy out of the airplane with his legs, and then that was a mistake, It's like, and you know what happened later? There was a queue behind, and people wanted to get back in the same airplane. Airline industry, unfortunately, doesn't have that much loyalty attached to that. The moment the flight is cheaper from one line to the other, they will put it. You're talking
And
about-
you don't care about the service at all. And the same with the internet. First you buy the internet, first you look at the price, etc., and then you have to cope with this guy. If they would put the price tag that would allow them to buy a better guy
Yes.
to install you the internet, they would be out of business.
I can give you something because you mentioned Wizard. That's true, 100%, and they don't tell you. The reason that Wizard does not allow you to take your seat and ask you to pay for a lot of the stuff is psychological. Because the moment you see that the Wizard and Air France is having this half a price of each other, psychologically you have this feeling that either the airplane is going to crash, either the pilot is not professional. You have to know why you are paying less. When something is about your family. Pardon?
Not in Poland.
I'm sorry, is it the price of human being half in Poland? I mean, everybody's life matters to everybody the same as anybody else.
But with airline industry, there is no airport will allow an airplane to land which is not meeting certain regulations. So from
European
safety
Union
point of
wise,
view,
you are totally right. But again, I'm sorry to say that Europe is such a big bubble. Like in here, you close your eyes, you go to the shop, buy your stuff because it's European Union certified. And I really wish there was one British guy here. We could just make fun of him a little bit with all the Brexit and everything. But that is a different joke that we have to put it later. That is, that is one safety net that I totally agree with being in Europe. But I'm not just precisely talking about the European side. I'm talking about the fact, by the way, this is what I'm saying is a textbook of behavioral psychology. That the fact of cutting some pieces of your business by showing why your business is cheaper is good for your market. Because when you just say that, you know what, we're going to give you this bottle of water, half the price of other waters, and then you're still going to pay the same thing, people might still say, you know what, I'm going to go with the expensive one. But when they say that we will do that because we are not using plastic, because we are more eco-friendly, then people will still go with you even though that the price didn't change. So I'm just saying a lot of time by being honest to your customer or just somehow try to show them something that they would understand in their own logic, you will have a better business. Anything else that you
Tesla.
Tesla, oh my God, go with Tesla.
Okay. Also, a lot of people are showing mask businesses. They are showing Tesla as business examples,
Yes.
but they are attacking it from completely wrong angle. This
Yeah.
guy managed to have a few $1 billion from some Saudis, and he can afford to build any picture he likes, and people will believe it. You believe that success of the Tesla is the Tesla Club, they're under all this kind of stuff. No, the real success of Tesla is that he has a lot of money to burn in the oven.
Where did he get his money?
Sorry?
Where did he get his money?
Not selling the cars, selling himself and selling his companies
But
to
I
the
mentioned
Saudis.
that. Let's put it this way. First of all, automotive industry is an industry that everybody is bankrupt in it beside one person, and that is Tesla. General Motors is the only company that is not bankrupted because the US government subsidizes it. So first of all, whatever he's doing it right. Second of all, I'm not saying that why people are going into getting it. Even the fact of I have some very good friends that they do electromobility and they go to all the Tesla showrooms and everything. The fact of being in the same room with the Elon might be as important as having the car. But I'm sorry to say, but sometimes also his vision goes into his product. So it's really hard to cut his product from his personality. Like all the people that I don't know if any one of you has watched the demo of the Tesla truck. That was a disaster. Because the mirrors broke and the car was a joke. But when then later people from the automotive industry started analyzing it and putting it into pieces, that was unbelievable. The truck industry almost didn't change for 30 years. Then Trump, the whole, how do you call it, like the whole truck industry somehow went into the point that either you have to be a different truck or people are always going to go with the Ford.
Yes,
because
the
people
Ford.
will always go from the first Ford to the second Ford to the third Ford. So if your truck is not going to be different than Ford, you can't sell it. That is why this truck was so different than any average truck. So if he wasn't so ballsy and doing all these things, that wouldn't happen. Again, General Motors, Toyota, they were taking the electric cars, they were destroying it out of their own cost because they just didn't want to work against the oil lobbyists. Tesla was the first company who just went against the trend and put people into the position that being on a Tesla is sexy. That is a problem with people who just said that, you know what, don't eat chicken because you're going to destroy the environment. And I was like,
But first, Toyota did it with Prius.
they were a very cheap, but watch Family Guy, and then we will just talk about what is Tesla and what is Prius. Like,
But you know, the moment you remove the excess money from Tesla, this company is more bankrupt than any other
I
company.
would say every
you
single
name.
bankruptcy that the U.S. government put money in General Motors is beyond all the budget. Elon was never rich. He was rich into his credit, maybe, but on the
Yeah.
money he made.
I have a
instant
friend who
company.
is in the business, in the financial business. He's investing his own money. He has his own private investment fund, and he said, would he have a very deep pocket, he would start betting against Elon Musk now and wait for his reward.
I'm sorry to say that, but there are two different problems. One is that I really hope Elon would never die, because if he would, your friend would be very right with the whole thing, because as we said, it's very hard to really separate himself from his business. But on top of that, being visionary is complicated. Meaning, Steve Jobs was losing money. He was literally losing money by Apple. But the moment Tim Cook arrived, he didn't do something magical. He just cashed out years of innovation by Steve Jobs. That's one of the problems that right now I see that Microsoft is just taking and getting it back. Because now Microsoft as a company is being more innovative than Apple.
Yes.
And Apple is a company who only generates money for its shareholders. While, again, as I said in the beginning, if you are in the business for a long run, in this long run, Microsoft is going to definitely win Apple in their business, because right now, I'm sorry, but any iPhone is technologically inferior to Huawei, Samsung, and many other players in the market. While what is Samsung is doing, Samsung put a few billions of dollars on LCD. They take everybody's LCD, including Apple. After they won the LCD, they put more money than the LCD on virtual reality. And say, you know, when the LCD is going to go out, now I'm just going to go and try to bring everything to that. Always look on the next trend. And that is the way that I see Elon is setting up a trend. He puts Hyperloop, he puts space traveling, interplanetary traveling. He puts everything that everybody cannot dream in their lifetime and put it again. Putting neuron, the AI and attaching it to your brain. Every single one of, he is a Tesla. He is, by all means, he is the real Tesla. Like every one of his inventions is a groundbreaking invention. But as I said, the only difference is that he is not in a scientific level an innovator. He is an innovator. He puts something that is not supposed to be done, like a bumblebee and flying, if that is not such a cliche example. And that is how he
Or
makes
solar roof.
Also the solar panels, yeah, that is true. And even somehow try to do two things at the same time. So the Solar City is not his company. He basically just somehow, what you said, putting his brand in order to sell it because his cousins are doing it. But the funny thing in the whole Solar City is that he put the battery that he made in Tesla and he put it into your house and then put it as a Solar City. Same product, two usabilities.
This is the same product because this will be the battery which was earlier in Tesla.
Exactly.
Because
So
he's solving the problem with disposing of the batteries.
that's true.
To ja trąbię, kończymy sesję oficjalną spotkania. Now the private part of our meeting. So if you have any additional
You
questions.
can talk
Yes.
together.
Face one-to-one, yes.
One-to-one. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
With us.
Commemorative photo with the flag.
Yeah.
Something to commemorate that you were here. Try to make us less familiar. Not a billion.
Ale no się kręci, że Saudyjczycy zainwestowali 4 miliardy dolarów.
A money,
Zarabia na
No to w ogóle
Oni sprzedają pewną ideę sobie, a czy kurwa wyciąga pieniądze z kieszeni i masz tu 5 miliardów dolarów. I tyle. Ja
musimy dać.
That's why I think say that capitalism is it is a sex system because capitalism the main idea is that you can grow each year, you can produce more and more, and those who own these businesses make more money.
Marcin, to ode mnie jeszcze więcej
Dobra.
No matter what you want, it's just a matter of if you have a feasible outcome. And now we have such a fragile ecosystem of like a global.
This is something that I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you when you run those.
Portman is founder of This is normal Rotarian feel and this is special
Vodka is available. I don't know how it is in Iran, but Poland is but only at night. Only at night when Allah doesn't see.